Oh my goodness. I apologize profusely for making these two episodes so far apart. Some of you may know that my mother passed away on May 7th. I moved, I have a new job, and all kinds of things going on at one time. And I thought that I was ready to hit the ground running. Got the first amazing episode out with no problem. And then everything started going sideways, and grief does what it does. I've had some bad days, and then I just put my head down and buried myself with work and trying to get settled in my new place. Luckily, the Duke's been here to watch over me, but it's been a process, and I apologize. And then right after that, I'm getting ready a few days ago to finalize this, and my laptop breaks. So I've got a busted screen frame down here, and I cannot touch my laptop. So thank you guys for being patient. I try so hard to keep on task and trying to find my footing. So that being said, I literally just put the ending of editing on this part 2 episode with Miss Lynnette Stansall, and it is amazing. I listened to it like I hadn't heard it before because it had been just enough time had gone by since I recorded this with Lynnette, and it was like listening to an amazing podcast that I'd never heard before, and I was the one sitting right there. This is going to be a mind-blowing part 2. Thank you so much, and enjoy the episode.
I wasn't fitting into their box anymore, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
And I would go sit in Sunday school, and it just felt like a bunch of bullshit. Their perspective. And it's just like, but their heart is pure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just that their world is so small.
It is so small, and they don't know what they don't know. And
They don't know what they
based in fear, you know,
Yes.
the fear of don't do this because the light might go on for you too. It's like
Yeah.
it's like all of a sudden, you know, the veil is lifted, and then we lost her too. We just lost another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies now. God, you know, it's
Yeah.
I can just see that. I could see how they would have, out of fear, just want to hold on to everyone.
Yeah.
And don't expose yourself to this other world.
Don't question.
Yeah,
I
don't
remember
question.
one time, this was actually in Texas. My ex-husband was in some hot water with the staff, and we were having a meeting. And man, they were just I felt like they were just drilling him unduly. And finally, when there was a little break, I was like, I said, there's just something about this meeting that doesn't feel like the love of Jesus. Well, one of them little old deacons, he didn't like me saying that I had talked out of turn. And he's like, oh, Lynnette, you teach us then. I'll be like, I could, because I know that this don't feel like it. I didn't say nothing. In fact, I didn't say nothing when we walked out. My ex-husband was like, you should have kept your mouth shut. You know, you just got me in deeper trouble.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yep. You done lost your place, woman.
Yes.
It's downhill from there, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
how much
you weren't
time?
allowed to question and allowed to, no autonomy in that.
None.
Anyway,
No.
okay. So interestingly, at this same time, while I'm learning all these new things, I get introduced to the Tao through video done by Wayne Dyer. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Wayne Dyer?
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he had done a PBS special called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. He wrote a book on the Tao. And I remember, Tiffany, I remember even being out in the field. I was helping helping my kids tie drip tape. And I was out there listening to Wayne Dyer talk about the Tao. And there is something it called me. It called me. I loved it. And I would listen over and over to that video on the Tao.
You're going to have to explain what that is, because I'm sure that
So
some
the
people that
Tao
are
Te
listening will be
Ching.
like, what?
Yeah, the Tao Te Ching, TaoDecHing. And it just really means the way. And the Tao is about just allowing life to unfold. And one of the big analogies is just like a tree changes with the seasons. In spring, it puts on its buds, it puts on its leaves. blooms, grows. In the fall, the leaves change, they drop off, and it has its dormant season. In the fall, the tree never says, I'm not dropping my leaves, I'm holding on to these like heck. It never
Mm.
says that. It allows things to unfold. And there was that just spoke to me about allowing life to unfold and to let go of control. And just instead of facing things with fear and anxiety and on my knees, "Oh God, please make this happen. Please make that happen. This has to work out like this. I think this is the way." To step back and look on with curiosity and be like, I wonder how this is going to work out. And just be
Mm.
okay with that
Yeah.
and trust that the universe is always looking out for our best and highest good. And when
Mm.
I could let go of control, something just changed in me. I was no longer fearful, like, even, like, with my kids. So, around that time, I had two of my kids, they would have been youth kids, they left the church. And normally, I would have held on tight and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're just shaming me, and this
Mm.
is this is so shameful for us, and why can't you just be good Mennonite children like the rest of them?" And, like, I just want to, be the best little Mennonite. I could let go. You go do you, whatever that looks like.
Wow.
And there was so much peace that flooded into my life
Yeah.
when I could let go of control.
Well, the resistance that we put up with things, the resistance just takes so much energy to
Mhm,
constantly be fighting things all the time. Push this, push that, don't do that, push that. And as a mother, the resistance of things is so strong anyway, because you
mhm,
resist change, you resist the growth, you resist them leaving the house, you resist, resist, resist. But the feeling that you're describing, I can only imagine how that was like, okay.
yeah, okay,
And them to know she's got my back. She loves me
mhm,
and accepts me whether I step into this or I step back into that. That's beautiful.
yeah.
So, good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just learning to do that with so many things with our farm. Like, if it sells, well, something else will work out. If it doesn't sell, something will work out. I believe it. So there's this story about the horse, the farmer and the horse. The horse comes and this horse comes to this farmer's. No, no, no. The farmer's horse runs away, and the neighbors come and they're like, "Oh, too bad for you. Your horse ran away." And the farmer's like, "Oh, good or bad, who's to say?" And the next day, the horse comes back, bringing a whole herd of wild horses, and the neighbors come back and they're like, "Good for you! Look, you got all these horses." And the farmer's like, good or bad, who's to say?" And then the son tries to break one of the horses, or ride one of the horses, he breaks his arm, and the neighbors are like, "Oh, too bad for you. Your son broke his arm." Well, then the army comes into town recruiting young men for war, but the son has his arm broke, so he can't go. And so the neighbors are like, "Oh, look at how lucky for you. Your son didn't have to go to war." And the farmer always just meets these things with good or bad, who's to say? And I was like, I just adopted that. Like, I should get that
Mm,
tattooed on my arm, like, good or
right?
bad, who's to say? Just
That's
whatever
true.
happens, I'm gonna wait and see.
Right?
And I just adopted that idea, and I am telling you, changed my life and the way I can
Yeah.
look at things. But in between all that, I do like the messy part of my life. Ugh.
It's going to
How
get
long do you
good.
want this thing to go?
You can go as long as you want. I don't care.
Okay, okay. The messy part didn't feel messy at first was that, okay, so I start having all these questions. But when I would go to my husband with them, don't talk about it. Put your head
Good.
down. Don't say things. No, we don't question. Yada yada. So we had this other friend, and so I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna start asking him," because he was our field man. So he had and then him and his wife would come, and they would go to church things with us, and we would go to dinner with them. And even though they weren't Mennonite,
Oh,
they were our
okay.
friends. So he had a really deep understanding of how the Mennonites work. But I started asking him, like, "Hey, when you look at the Mennonites, blah blah blah, whatever." These were always my questions, like, what do you think? Or like, how is the rest of the world? How do they see this? Or he was my worldly perspective.
Mm.
And yeah, just through that, I started to see so much in a person that I'd never seen in my husband. Like, this man was always kind, he was gentle, He was honest with his answers. It was none of this stuff of put your head down, do what they tell you, don't color outside the lines, don't talk about these things you're learning. Like he always thought he probably was like, this is so fascinating watching her learn all these things and be so excited about them,
And
because I was excited about them.
well, and essentially you're coming to life, right
Yes.
right before his very eyes. You're literally coming to life. I can only imagine what it was like on his perspective.
Yeah. So anyway, through all that, he then let me see. Him and his wife ended up getting divorced and COVID happened. COVID was an interesting thing. COVID really broke my bond with the Mennonites because suddenly we didn't socialize like we used to. And guess what? I found out that I was okay without them.
Mm,
I didn't need all that socializing. It didn't me it didn't it wasn't the breath of life
mm,
for me. I was okay on my own. And that was an interesting realization. But, yeah, just began to get closer to this man and see things that I wished I could see in my own husband, but didn't see him,
mm.
and that was really hard, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Formed a very emotional bond with him, and, I'm still a little Mennonite lady, though, so just playing things by the books and
But you came to rely on his sense of peace and his acceptance and just it sound like he was a peaceful presence in your life. That's what it sounds like.
very much,
Yeah.
very much. And then and I'm sure it was like anytime I tried to broach these subjects with my husband, then he would get angry. But
Mm.
I think he felt he had a lot of fear.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Around
Yeah.
what I was becoming.
You're disrupting everything. You disruptor.
Yes.
You're a
Get back
disruptor.
get back in your little dress and your head covering and do what I tell you.
Be sweet. What are the Mormons?
Exactly.
The Mormons, they say, be sweet, something,
Be
something.
sweet.
Yeah, be sweet. Shut up, be sweet.
Love it. Anyways, okay, so that was all happening. So me and my husband are going like this, and me and this other guy are going like this, and it's just like feels so messy.
Mm,
But I think okay, so I in 21, spring of 21, I finally had the courage to go to my husband and be like, "Hey, I'm leaving the church. Like I'm done." Girl, you know how scared I was? I
oh
would
my gosh.
practice saying that in the shower and when I drove myself to town and things like that. I would practice how I was going to tell him I'm leaving the church.
That's gotta be hard.
And literally when I told him, I said it with my head down.
Oh,
Like, why the heck didn't I lift my head up and be like, "You know what? I'm done. I'm leaving." Yeah, tell you. But I didn't. That wasn't who I was.
yeah. Well, that
I
has
said it
to be
with my head
scary.
down. I'm like, I just think I'm going to leave the church. And he's quiet. And he's like, "Are you sure? Like, that's really something you want to do? I mean, why don't you, like, let's just put our head down and fly under the radar." And I'm like, "No,
That's not
no, I
living.
cannot do it." I said, "I am tired of identifying like this. I am tired of these dresses and this head covering chaining me to something that I don't believe in." And his response was, "Okay, well, you're gonna have to tell the preacher and you're gonna have to tell your parents." Okay.
Done.
Yeah, but that was really hard though. My parents they came to live with us that summer. Just my dad was helping out on the farm and whatnot. And I knew I had this looming over me that I had to go to my parents and be like, "I'm leaving the church." Whoo-wee. Anyway, so when I did finally I didn't have the courage. It was the end of their time with us. And my mom had to have known. She had to have known things were off. She had to have.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm leaving the church. And I mean, she was just like, "Lynette, not you." And like, what do you say to that?
I can imagine because that fear of the daughter, the obedient
Yes.
oldest daughter, oldest child, and oldest daughter,
Mhm.
you are disappointing them.
So badly.
Yeah.
So badly. Then my dad came in right about that time, and my mom's like, "Tell your dad." And I'm
Good
like, "Dad, yeah,
God.
I'm leaving the church." And he was just stone quiet and nothing. And
Mm.
he's like, "You know, Lynette, you can do that." He says, "But I'm going to tell you." He said, "Okay, so Marcus, a little cousin of ours, his parents left the church." And he said, he told me how his mom used to be the one who lit up the room and was just, yeah, the light of the room. But when she left the church, that light just dimmed, and she just lost her beauty. And he says, I am going to, I tell you that you are never going to be beautiful. And I'm like, whatever do I say to that? You know, when your dad tells you
Wow.
you'll never be pretty, you'll never be beautiful, you won't light up a room. So hard.
Wow. So then what? Right? You're heartbroken, but
Yeah.
yet you are driven. This is what
Yeah.
you need to do for you.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And that's the thing, like, I never had like this one moment where it's like Mennonite, now I'm non-Mennonite. Instead, it was just this series of events, you know, the
Yeah.
learning. And I think that little part of me just when I was young, I would always look at magazines and Vogue. I love to look at Vogue. I mean, that's the craziest clothes in the world, right? Who even wears clothes like that in real life? But I loved it. I loved it. And I
Yeah.
think there was a part of me. Well, there's another interesting story. It was a way that I comforted myself in my weird Mennonite clothes. But we had gone to Epcot Center in Disney World in Florida. And have you ever been there? It was amazing what I remember of it. So they have this road that goes around this little lake there in the park. And off of there's little roads off of that main road. And like this one's Mexico and this one's Morocco and then this
Mm.
one's, you know, India or what, like all these different little villages. And then they are all about that culture. And what I realized then is like, okay, it's okay to be Mennonite because I'm just another person in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever, my oddness, whatever. And I use that as a comfort for because I hated feeling like the brick at a place.
Yeah.
I hated going places and knowing that I stood out like a sore thumb. I hated it. I wanted to blend in.
Yeah.
I wanted to be another person on the street. I wanted to go to the mall and nobody take notice
Yeah.
because you'd see people stare all the time,
Oh,
all
I
the
bet.
time.
I've done it. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
because
You know,
it's different.
yes, it's different. I just wanted to blend in. So yeah, that was heartbreaking when I had
Yeah.
to tell my parents, and that was very hard and it was rough. And then I started my last year of nursing program. So I was in my last year of school. It was funny when I showed up to school, we had like a preliminary meeting with the nursing program. And so I come in my jeans and my hair down, and I seen the professors up there, and they're like, who's that? Do we know who that is? And I'm like, it's me, it's Lynette.
Oh
And they're
my
like,
gosh. I
yes,
bet. Wow. They'd seen you like that for how long as a Mennonite?
yeah,
Like,
I'd been in college 3 years as a Mennonite, and all of a sudden my last year here I am as a non-Mennonite.
my gosh.
I know.
Wow. I bet that was a shock.
Well, I think it was a shock. I think it was a shock, but I loved it. Like
I,
I loved it. I loved going to the store and being able to buy whatever I wanted to.
yeah. Wow. What a sense of freedom that
Oh,
the, uh, the people that were raised this way, would never know. We'd never recognize. They're like, wow, I do have autonomy over what I want to
yes,
do and wear
yes.
and buy and say and whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I love it to this day. I love
Yeah.
going to the store and buying clothes. I love putting on makeup. I love doing my hair. I love all those worldly things.
Yeah.
All those worldly
Si-
things. I love it.
Sinner.
So naughty.
A sinner.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was good. It was good. And then, okay, so I went through school and then me and my husband, we were just, I mean, more and more, we were hardly
Yes.
talking to each other.
Well, how
It
was
was
that?
rough.
Yeah,
It was
because he's
rough.
still a Mennonite,
Yeah,
participating
he's
in
still a
Mennonite stuff,
Mennonite.
and you're dressing as a
Mm-hmm.
normal everyday chick, doing what
Mm-hmm.
normal everyday chicks do. Wow.
Yeah.
I bet
It
that
was
was
rough.
interesting.
I remember the first Mennonite thing I went to. I wore a skirt and a blouse and just my hair up like in a banana clip. What do they call
Yeah.
them? A little
Yeah. I think so.
clampy thing.
Yeah.
And like I felt like I had dressed very conservatively for the occasion. We were going to be with a bunch of our Mennonite friends, but they had not seen me like this without my head covering. And I mean, we started to pull into the driveway, and he's like, we could just turn around and go home right now. I'm like, no, like we're gonna do this. Like this is who I am now. but there was such a ooh on his
Oh,
side. And we did, we
I
went. The ladies were all nice, chatted a bit. We didn't stay very long, went home. It was okay. Those were scary times.
Oh, I bet. I
Oh,
can't
and then
even imagine.
so many texts from my dear Mennonite friends. "Oh, Lynette, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, be mindful of your soul and your family, you know?" And yeah, it was rough. But here's what I did. When I messaged the preacher, because I did so much, like, let me back up a little. Even more, while I was contemplating this, like, I think I would like to leave the church. I started to reach out to friends of mine in the youth who had left the church and,
Mm,
like, just like pushing on doors. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I want to leave without saying I want to leave. Like, how did this work for you? Tell me about your story of leaving. And without ever saying to them, I want to leave too. I would just tell me more about how it went for you. And it gave me courage just to hear that these other people had done it and that they came out okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
They came out okay. They weren't laying in the ditch shooting up drugs like we'd been told we were probably what was going to happen to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't make it without us. You can't do
No,
this without us. Yeah, I can
no.
only imagine.
You're gonna it's just a life of
Y
debauchery out there, and
Right,
you're
yeah.
gonna be
You're
sucked right in. So I
you're
would
gonna
be calling
fail.
all these ex-Mennonite friends and be like, "How did it go? Tell me. Tell me more," like, and just gaining courage for myself.
Wow. So, that brings me
So,
to
one thing though I had decided is that
yeah.
I did not want when I told the preacher I was gonna leave the church, I was gonna do it on my own terms. So usually what they do, like to expel somebody, they expel on what they call a death sin. And so like fornication, adultery, public drunkenness, lying, stealing, trying to think of some other. Those are the main, like those are a few just to anyway, and I'm like, "Okay, I have committed no sin. They are not going to paint me as a sinner.
Mm,
I won't do this." So I had to figure out a way that I could say this and maintain my dignity.
yeah.
Why did I care? But I cared. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
That
like,
makes sense.
how do I word this? So finally I sent the preacher a text message. I didn't even call him or nothing. I'm like, this is just going to be a text message. I'll be done. And I just told him, I said, I said, I would like my name removed. No, that's not how I said. I am stepping back. I am removing I would like my membership removed from the Holdeman Church. And I do not want any discussions or my salvation or religion. Yeah. I don't want any conversations that would lead to debate on religion or God because I knew what was going to happen. They were going to come for me.
Mm,
And it was like, but what about this? And that what? And I didn't want it. You can come, you can be my friend, but we're not going to debate my decisions.
yeah. Good for you.
And so that's what he did. He got up in front of church and just read my text to the church. So
Wow.
I mean, that's an unusual situation. They did not expel me for a sin.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
that was gonna be my one of my questions was about shunning because you think of
Uh-huh.
the Amish, they shun
Uh-huh.
and all that. Is that similar to being shunned?
Yeah. So then what they do is they hold the avoidance, is how they call it. And this is to be a calling. This is to remind you of the separation that's going to be because I'm going to go to hell and they're going to go to heaven because this is a reminder for me of that separation. It's a reminder here on earth. So, yeah,
That
it's
to me
moving. They're kind of I feel like the church is moving away from some of that or it's not as strict as it used to be.
yeah.
Because it used to be that to hold the avoidance, you did not go to eat with expelled people. If they came to your house, like let's say a family deal, you would sit them at a separate table away from your table because that's a reminder of that separation that's going to come if they don't change their wicked ways. And I'm going to say, like, I took part in all that when I was part of it. Like, I believed in it,
Well, of
you
course.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but now we go to my parents' house. My parents never sit us apart, even with my dad's family, and they're very blue blood Mennonite. They even
Wow.
sit us at the same table. So, yeah. Yeah, the avoidance is hard. Like I lost my community. I lost my friends. They
Okay.
didn't have anything really to do with me. Once in a while, one of them would reach out. It might be like, I'm praying for you. And oh, I hope
Mm.
someday you change, and just come back and
It's all
things like
about the
that.
church,
Yeah.
all about
Yeah.
that faith. And see,
Yeah.
that's what blows me away. What Bible did the Mennonite follow? What's the
The
Bible?
King James, the
King
the King
James.
James version. Yeah.
Well,
The New
either
King James.
way, that in the Bible, God knows, only God knows, and Jesus knows how many times it talks about judging,
Mm-hmm.
judging. For some, for somebody to say that you are going to hell if you don't do this, this, and this, that is all based in judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it that you, a mortal man, can lay judgment upon me because I am being called? It could be a higher power to some sorts, is why you're being called to do something else. I mean, look what you're doing with your life. You are serving
Mm-hmm.
in ways that you never would, honestly, as a regular Mennonite woman slash wife slash mother.
Mm-hmm.
You would not be doing what you're doing, which is all based in service and giving back and touching lives, which is what we're supposed to do, whether you believe in the Bible or not,
Mm-hmm.
and the teachings of the Bible or not, whatever religion, faith, whatever it is, we are here to serve and to give
Mm-hmm.
back and
Yeah.
to touch lives. And I don't understand how somebody could look at what you're doing and what you've become as, oh, that sucks. You're bad. You need to come back to us because this is the light, the way. This is the
Yeah.
only way. Oh my gosh. To me, that's so astronomically pompous, and it is so egotistical. It is so ridiculous and blinding that I don't understand. That's why religion and we part ways in a lot of ways when man steps in and starts blah 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 blah. Blah. Everything is ruined when a man takes over and
Mm-hmm.
starts casting judgment,
100%.
right?
100%.
See, and this look at your life now. So
I know.
you when it got to the point, okay, left the church, husband and you are meh, then bring us to when that's it, I'm done. I'm walking away 100%. I'm getting a divorce.
Okay. So, yeah, it's just okay. So we were just going like this.
Mm,
We weren't really communicating. And like I just man, I was a mess. Like
I bet.
I didn't in a sense I didn't even know myself who I was.
Mm,
I knew that I was changing. I knew that I wanted change, but man, I was just doing it like whatever seemed like the next light step. And so me and my ex, we were not communicating. It was just very cold between us. I didn't even have the courage at this point. I knew that I was like, I want a different life. I see that there is a different kind of relationship out there than the one I've always had, but I didn't have the courage to say it.
mm.
And finally, he was the one who brought it up. He's like, look, this is not working out between us. He's like, do you want a divorce? And I'm like, I do.
Did he even get the word out of his mouth? Yes.
Right? Well, but ironically, like, then once I said those words, he's like, "Oh, no, 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 he didn't want a divorce." However, I do wanna say this, like, in the year previously, several times I had asked him to go to marriage counseling,
Mm, yeah.
but he knew better. He knew better. We didn't need marriage counseling. I needed the Lord. That's what I needed. I need to come back to
Mm,
the church.
yeah.
I'm like, "This is never gonna work." Like, he didn't wanna play ball. You
Mm,
know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I was like, "I can't do this." And so finally, by the time he did ask me the question, I had left 5 months ago, probably a year ago.
Mm,
I
yeah.
was done. There was
Yeah.
nothing. I didn't want to reconcile. I didn't. Not for the sake of my kids, my family unit, nothing. I was done.
Right.
Done, done. And so lots of regrets around that time. I was not open and honest with my children. I
Mm,
wasn't. I was not emotionally mature. I didn't even understand how to be.
oh, sure.
I didn't
That
I didn't know how to handle these situations. And I had nobody to even help me
right.
maneuver these
Yeah.
situations.
And do you think that's a cultural thing within that society of, because I'm just guessing here only because this is where my brain goes. We tend to be more worldly and open because we're in that type of society where you have everything at your fingertips. You can go find stuff at any time, look up stuff, everything's out there. You can go see counselors, you can go to that. But within the church, a church atmosphere, your guidance is the guy that's the pastor, whatever you call it, the bishop or the deacon or whatever. That's your anchor point. You go talk to somebody within that church about your problems, and then they turn it back on you. You don't have faith. Well, ye with little faith, that's all on you. Well, wait, my husband might be an asshole. He might be abusive. Oh no, we can fix that. We'll fix that within the church. It's got to be so kind of suffocating in so many ways, and that culture that you don't have the ability to go seek answers. And if you start asking questions, I can only imagine they look at you like, well, you're not supposed to ask that. You can't ask that. I can't even imagine the way my brain works. They'll be like, she's Satan. She's got something wrong. She asks way too many fucking questions. You're not supposed to think that way. I can only imagine. So how crazy is that? So I can't imagine all the shit you were going through with everything going on, the changes, the growth, the enlightenment, all these light bulbs going off constantly. And yet over here, you're like, oh, no, no, no. Don't talk. Don't ask. Don't do this. Put your head down. Don't be sweet. Be sweet. I can't imagine, girl, what you were going through.
It was rough. It was
and children.
Rough.
In
and
that.
children.
Yes. Okay, I'll shut up. So finish.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Because that is so true. Like my husband staying a Mennonite I mean, maybe in his mind we would have went and got marriage counseling from the preacher, but in my mind we would go to a professional counselor.
Yeah, but they would influence you from the outside.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was just no help. And I was so scared because while I had made the decision the year before to leave the church, I just felt like at any time they were going to come in with some sort of forces. I don't even know, this army of shadows was going to come in and make me go back to being a Mennonite again.
Wow.
And I felt the same way with my divorce. I wanted a divorce. I wanted it. I wanted a different kind of relationship. And I did not see myself ever having something different with this Mennonite man, ever. And so I think I just hunkered down and I wasn't open and honest with my children in a way that I wish I would have been now. If it would have happened now, it would be a completely different situation.
Right. But that's because you know now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be afraid that somebody was going to come in and say, oh, nope, you thought you were loose, but you're not.
Yeah.
We just gave you enough chain to let you think you got outside, but you did. You're coming back in. And I was scared of that. That's why I kept my mouth shut about so much stuff.
Oh, I bet.
And just harbored all this stuff inside because somebody was going to make me go back to that old life where I answered to someone other than myself.
Yeah. And what a feeling of being like a prisoner, you're held captive and they think they're doing it for the right reasons. It's not like nefarious, like evil, we're going to sacrifice you on the altar, for some deity. And you're like, oh my God, but it's not that, but it's the fear of the unknown of, I want this life. I want this new life. And I can't imagine how that must have felt for you to be in such a turmoil and then we got kids in the mix and then you feel like you're failing them or disappoint them or I should have this, should have that. But it's all a shit show and a crapshoot. So you just do the best you can. So bring us to that point when he said, do you want a divorce? And you're like, yep.
Yeah, I do. Well, I think it was less than a month. So several things happened at the same time. So I had just graduated nursing school. So I had gotten a job in the ICU. So I was learning. I had clocked into a job for the first time in my life.
At what age were you?
40. I was almost to turn 45.
Wow.
Yes. And I clocked into the ICU. Am I a sucker for hard things? I think so.
That's amazing.
So I had left the church the year before. Now I was having a job. I was in the real world for the first time. And now I'm getting a divorce. And all this stuff was on top of me. And I was drowning. Literally. I remember so I would go to work and I would have a preceptor. And for some reason, they were putting me with a different preceptor every time, and so I was always having a new nurse, or a different nurse teach me her way, and then this nurse
Oh,
teach me her way, and then this and finally one day, and it was all too much. I just ran to the bathroom and I, like, bawled my eyes out, and then somebody went and told my director, and she the next day she came and talked to me. She's like, "Lynette, we're gonna put you with one person." She's like, "You need some
You
consistency in
need
your life."
one consistent thing in your life. God, I can only imagine.
Exactly,
Jesus.
exactly. So, but you know what? I worked at the ICU at West Valley, and they were freaking amazing.
Mm,
Those women gathered around me. They became my community.
wow.
They
Beautiful.
held me up and they were my friends. I mean, once again, how I say how the universe is always looking out for me,
Mm,
like it gave me the West Valley ICU.
that's
Those women,
awesome.
I would have been so lost without them. So I moved out to a little apartment in Caldwell. Yeah, of myself. But it wasn't too long after that, then my friend moved in with me.
Mm, your friend?
My friend,
Who's your
yes,
friend?
my friend that was my little the what I can't think of it. The field man.
I was gonna say, you mean the field man friend? It's like you're not talking about a
Hey,
girlfriend. I can
I
tell.
love no, not that girlfriend. No girlfriends. It's like when one lady's like, because okay, he sells chemical and fertilizer, and she's like, oh, so he came selling a load of shit, and you just bought it, didn't you?
That's
Like you
great,
know it, hook, line, and
man.
a whole dump truck.
Yeah, good. Well,
So
that's
it was
beautiful.
great. I mean, so that was a bright spot in my gosh. Suddenly I was being loved and cared for in a way, Tiffany, I had never experienced in my
Wow,
whole life.
that's a gift right there. That's
It
a
was a
gift.
gift. It
That's
was a
beautiful.
gift. So it was a shit show with my kids. My boys didn't talk to me. I think it took a whole year before my boys talked to me.
Oh, wow.
That was rough. I would cry and cry and cry, and I would send them texts and I would send them, love, and it's just nothing, nothing.
Mm,
Those are the things I say I would do different because I would have had a different relationship. I would have had a more open and honest, and this is what's happening and this is why,
right,
but I still love you and it hasn't changed that.
right.
Instead of all of a sudden, well, they knew, I mean, that we were gonna get a divorce and that I would be moving out shortly. My gosh, though. Like, I'm a complete I have to give myself grace
Yes, you
because
do.
I get so mad at myself when I think back to how I did not communicate, but I didn't know how.
Oh, exactly. Well, and everything happens the way it's supposed to. These things are laid out in front of us way before we get there. Whether you believe in God or you believe in anything else, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Our path, it's 50,000 miles down the road. I mean, that's your path. And
Yeah.
that's because it brought you to your mindset and the way you feel now. And it probably, in a way, helped your relationship with your kids, right?
Oh,
I mean, you see
to
some
the
positive.
yes,
There you
today,
go.
we are closer than ever.
There you go. It
Today,
had to happen that way.
yes,
Had
and
to.
they will go to me before they will ever go to their dad.
There you go. Yeah.
So it came the full circle, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was rough. It was rough.
I can
It was
imagine.
so freaking I didn't know who I was,
Mm,
Tiffany. I was
yeah.
so lost. On one hand, I had the love of Eric. Like he covered me with his love and he carried me through.
Mm,
And because of that, I wasn't completely lost. I had the
mm.
love of my ICU friends, and I'm forever grateful. It took me about 2 years before I wasn't terrified going to work, but I finally figured it out.
You would never know that being on this end of it and having seen you in action. I didn't
Yeah,
see you in the ICU. I saw you with my mom and
yeah.
the kind, laid back, like just no nonsense, loving kind but professional. I can't imagine seeing you as a shit show in the beginning or any of that.
It felt like a shit show. But yeah, it was good, and I learned so much from being in the ICU, so much. It was amazing. But while I'm learning all this stuff, I'm also like the whole Tao thing is just going through my mind.
Mm.
Like, and to that point, I don't know where I am today. I don't feel like I have a set of beliefs. And in a lot of ways that has I've when you grow up so traditional, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
traditional. I mean, Sunday morning, church service, preaching, Sunday school, preaching, Wednesday evening Bible study, devotions, all this Bible stuff. And then now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Some of that has still continued. I feel a little lost
Yeah.
in it,
Yeah.
but I do believe that I am a good person and that
Well,
I
I
do love
I believe
people.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's a heaven or a hell, if there's a God, he's not going to send a person like me to hell. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
So I'm
Y-
just kind of sitting back and allowing those things.
Yeah.
What happened I was almost 3 years in at West Valley, and out of the blue, I decided to text my friend Gwen, and she was the volunteer coordinator at Heart and Home. And I'm like, "Hey Gwen, like, how are you doing?" I just checking in on her life, really. And she's like, "Oh, Lynette, I'm working at a different place, and you should. Which are you looking for a job?" And I'm like, "Actually, maybe." She's like,
Yeah.
"Come shadow a nurse." And I'm like, "Okay." So I went and shadowed a couple of nurses there at Ancora and fell in love with the team, and they
Mm.
offered me a job, and I got to go be the hospice nurse that I set out to be. And
Wow.
I freaking love my job. I
Yeah.
love it.
You can tell.
I
You can
love
tell.
it.
Yeah. You are a gift, my friend. You are.
Mm,
You are a
thank
gift.
you.
I'm telling you, being on this end of it, of what you do, and of course the rest of the Ancora team that we were exposed to
Hmm.
was just. I could speak for myself. I could speak for my dad. I know I could speak for my mom.
Hmm.
It's like unbelievable, and that I consider that to be one of the greatest gifts anybody can give to somebody else in a situation like that where you're caring for a dying loved one, when you show so much love and compassion and patience and all of those things, kindness, not only to my mom and her care, but my dad who was going through the fire every day, and just the loving checking in with him too, and that's
Hmm.
what you guys do. That's what you did. You checked in. It's not only about my mom, it's about the whole picture, the other people in the peripheral that are dealing with the chaos and the
Hmm.
trauma and the sadness and the grief and all the everything. So not just anybody can do what you
Hmm.
do.
Mm,
No.
thank you.
So, well, it's a beautiful thing. And that the fact that that's what you set out
Hmm.
to do, and that you volunteered years prior and had that exposure, and that ignited something in you and led you to where you are. I mean, your path is a beautiful path.
Hmm.
It really is. You should write a
I
book.
love it.
You should write a book. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been with Ancora? I know you told me.
Over a year now. It was a year in April.
Okay. Because mom was on hospice for about a year and a
Your
half.
mom started, yeah, I think in May, actually.
Yeah, I
She
can't
was one of my
remember.
very first admits when I was kinda getting out on my own.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy. The
I
timing. The
know.
timing and the fact that you and I crossed paths before is like,
Yes! And
because
never knew it,
don't, no, I don't.
because the only way
Your
we
hair was longer.
communicated, yeah, and the way we communicated was through my work number. So it wasn't
Yeah.
until after your mom died and we're like, "Hey, let's exchange information." And then I
Mhm.
put your number in, and all of
It
a sudden
was
I'm like,
already in
"What?
there.
I've texted her before?" And so I started scrolling back and I'm like, "What? This has to do with my Explorer." I'm like, "What?"
When you said that to me, because when you texted me on your personal phone, it popped up because I had Lynnette Bueller in my phone. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, hey, da 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 da, da, car, like whatever. And I go, wait, what? Is it my Lynnette? Is that Lynnette? What the hell? What are the odds,
Yeah,
So how did we not figure that one out? It's so
I
funny to
don't
me.
know.
But you're
It
right,
was
because you always had,
crazy.
well, yeah, and you always had the work phone,
Mhm.
it was always
Mhm.
the hospice work phone. So it was like, they
Yeah,
would never knew, but how funny. No, it was meant to be.
crazy.
We were meant to be. We were meant to be.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. For sure.
so before we go, is there anything else that you wanted to add that we did not cover?
I was going to talk a little bit about the life coaching thing.
Good.
What
Okay,
got me
good.
into
Because
that?
that's
Yeah.
what I was going to jump
So,
to, but I didn't know if you were ready to
yeah,
jump to
no,
that.
it's
Okay.
good. It's
Okay.
good. So I'm going to tell you, I got certified as a life coach, and this is what got me going on it. I had this patient, and they had uncontrolled hypertension, high blood pressure. And so for 3 days of my shift, we threw meds at this person until we finally got it under control. Well, the whole time I'm the nurse, we're forming a relationship, and this person tells me that they are an entrepreneur. They own their own business, and how the boss is calling themselves. The boss is calling, say, I got to get back to work. I got to get back to work on my business. And I'm like, well, this is probably part of the problem. Like, you need to chill out. And, anyway, sent that person home. And it wasn't until like that weekend when I was off thinking about this person, I'm like, not one time did the doctor or I talk to this person about stress management. All we did was give this person medication. Nobody had a conversation with, like, hey, like, you need to figure out how to relieve some stress. And there is a more holistic way to do this.
Mm.
And then a friend came to me and she's like, hey, Lynette, I am doing this nurse coach thing. And I'm like, nurse coach? Like, what, are you coaching nurses? And she's like, no, it's like, it's like a life coach, but it's with our medical background. You can get certified in it. I'm like, I love this. So I started looking into it and did the certification. It was like a 7-month program. And I loved it, like just how to talk to people and help people who are ready to take that next step. And I'm like, this is what I love. I love this. So that is the other thing that I do. And I had this little metaphor because you know what? I wish I would have had somebody in my camp when I was going through that transition.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody that I didn't have to be like calling my friends and saying, hey, I want to leave without saying I want to leave. I wish I
Yeah.
would have had that person to be like, hey, this is the truth of the matter, and I need help with courage.
Mm.
So I heard this story once that one elephant can pull 18,000 pounds, but 2 elephants together can pull a total of 72,000. That is
Wow.
4 times as much when you have somebody walking beside you.
Wow.
And that is what I wanna be. I wanna be that second elephant. I want people to be like, "I can do so much more because I know I have support. I have somebody walking beside me."
Mm. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've gotten a few clients. I went through another little program to help me, and I love it. I love sitting with people, hearing their stories, hearing their dreams, coming up with a plan like, "Hey, how are we gonna go forward?"
Yeah.
And sometimes it's all about to like, first we delve into like, what is your mindset? Talk about where they're at. Okay. What's your energy? Like sometimes people get so stuck in their negative energy that they don't know
Mm.
how to move forward.
Yeah.
And then we look at what are your skills? What skills do you have that will help us move the needle? And what skills do we need to work on? Because a lot of us, our nervous system is so whacked out already. We're just living with this hum of anxiety all the time. And then to like have somebody to be like, hey, actually you're inside the painting, you're inside the picture, but I'm outside here and I see the frame.
Mm.
And these are some things that I think we could do to make this picture better, and then just working with a little strategy and making some goals. And I wish that is what I would have had.
And see, that's beautiful because you have become multitudes of things that you wanted to be and
Mhm.
wished you had. It's beautiful. That is the like the epitome of a full circle
Mm.
life that you are living. You have the love of your life. You
Mhm.
have the relationship with your kids that you needed, wanted. You have the career that you needed, wanted. You have the coaching and you're showing up the way you needed somebody to
Yes.
show up for you. It
Yeah.
doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. It
Oh my
truly
gosh.
doesn't.
No, it doesn't. So that's amazing. I hope every now and then that you look in the mirror and you're like, "Girl, you fucking rocking it," you know? Seriously. And like, you know,
Yeah, yeah. You're doing
seriously.
it. You're doing a thing.
Yes, you
Yes.
are. And doing it well. It's one thing to go, yeah, I'm just like, it's another to just rock it
Yeah.
and go and move and go and be happy and live in that happy energy and that positive light and be that
Mhm.
for other people, whether it's through coaching, it's, as a
Mhm.
mother, as a wife, as a mentor, as, a hospice nurse in people's worst moments of their fucking lives. And you're there and you're
Mhm.
giving that light and that love. And believe me, it's real. Cause
Oh,
you
yeah.
you did that. You did that for me. You did that for my dad and my mom. And that's priceless. I hope you know that.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
I mean it.
Well, it's real. It's real. It's in my heart because you know what? I see every patient as my father, mother, grandmother, grandfather, my uncle, my aunt. That is how I see my patients. How would I want somebody to treat my loved one? And
Mm,
how would I want to be treated in this situation?
yeah,
And I
that's
love
beautiful.
all my people. I love them.
Yeah. That being said, how hard is it for you in that atmosphere over and over and over and over and over where you inevitably bond with the patients, the extra family, extra people that are, whether it's family or friends looking after your patients, that bond you create over how much time you're with these
Mhm.
people. How hard is it for you, on you, to okay, they're going, and the way you handled mom knowing that she was on her last days, we're talking few days, and
Mhm.
then the afterwards, all that. How do you do that? How do you do that successfully without falling apart? Because it's obvious you have a huge heart. Me, I'm a blubbering idiot and I bawl
Yeah.
constantly. It's surprising I haven't started bawling now, but how do you do that?
Yeah. For one thing, the first thing, first and foremost, is my goal as a hospice nurse is to give my patient a good death. And when I see that my patients are afraid to die, that makes me sadder than ever. And that is the one thing I'm still trying to learn. I can't alleviate someone's fear of dying, but I can make the process as gentle as possible. With
Wow.
the help of Dr. Gallagher and the whole team, we're there. And yeah, my goal is to give my patient a good death. I felt like I gave that to your mom, or we gave that to your mom. When it doesn't go so well, it is haunting. It's hard. And the team is so amazing at just decompressing and talking about those things. And sometimes we have to talk about them several times, and it's okay. The other thing is you got to remember that I come into your mom's life for, let's say, like a year. And I loved going to your mom and dad's. Oh my gosh, the love between them was so freaking beautiful and so
Oh
funny,
my
and their
god.
little funny relationship and the whole 9 yards, and the way you kids rallied around them and tried to make sure it was safe and that they stayed home, and it's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful. And, when they pass, one of the things that is so helpful for me is to go, and if I'm able to sit down with the family and just have that last conversation and just really talk and say my goodbyes to the family, you know? That helps. For me, it helps close a door, which is one thing, like, I didn't get in the ICU.
Yeah,
We would
man.
see those people. I would like, most of the time I worked, 312s consecutively. I would have my patients and then they would leave. I never knew what happened.
That would
Never
that would
knew,
drive me
and
crazy.
that was worse.
At least you have closure with
Yes.
knowing.
Beautiful closure, like,
Right.
and I love it. I love to see the way people rally around their loved ones
Mm.
most of the time. Sometimes it's not always like that, and then that's
Yeah.
really hard. That's
Yeah.
super those situations where my patient is alone,
Oh,
that's the hard ones. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and what happens, really? I mean, they have to obviously probably go into a home.
yeah.
They can't be alone all the time. That would tear me up too. Because I guess that's where sometimes the volunteering is a beautiful thing. And I've thought
Mhm,
about, now that this experience that I've had with you guys, I keep thinking, man, once I get settled, and maybe I can start volunteering, especially this winter when things slow down for me
mhm.
at the nursery. I could volunteer around
Oh, yeah.
here somewhere.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and see, we were talking about that before, I'm not hating on the Mennonite women, but I know that there are women that are in my same situation where they could use more purpose in their life, and
Mm,
I have put out texts to my friends so many times to be like, "Hey, we desperately need volunteers at
yeah.
Ancora. Is there anybody out there who'd be willing to give a little time?" and they just don't. Nobody. I'm just like, why? You are, of all women who are free and able to do things, it is you guys. I know because I lived it.
Right. It's got to be based in the fear to be exposed to the outside
I think
world.
so.
It has to be, has to
I think
be.
so. And
Yeah.
I think that's where like my mom and exposure to her family kind of helped me with some of those hurdles.
Yeah. You had
Yeah.
way more exposure
Yeah.
that, especially with the pot smoking transvestites, whatever. You're like, nowadays, I'm sure they look at what's going on and go, I mean, like, keep me away. Because there's way more chaos in the world now than there
Yeah.
was 20, 30,
In
40
the
years
80s. In
ago.
the 80s.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally, totally. But no, that's amazing. But,
Yeah. It's been a
well,
very good life.
oh yeah. Well, and again, you just keep spreading that light and that love
Hmm.
and do what you do, and it's been an honor for me to have you here.
Yeah.
And I remember the day you told me about, you asked about my podcast and you said something about a former Mennonite. And I was like, "What? Wait, what? Hell yeah, you got to come on, girl." So, oh my God. So I am just honored that you felt that, that you had a good platform that you could
Yeah.
come in here. And thank you for
I love
trusting me.
that.
Yeah, it's beautiful and congratulations. And hopefully everything's good with all their kids and, you
It
know,
is. I gotta tell you a little about my
yeah,
children. Yeah. So my youngest he joined the church about a year ago. However, I'm kind of sitting back waiting to see. I want to preface it with saying this: no hate on my part towards the Mennonites whatsoever. Like they want to live that life and that
right,
works for them, by all means, I will not hate on you for doing it. It
right.
didn't work for me. That's all. My youngest is actually in college. He goes to U of I to his major is mechanical engineer. And
Wow.
so I'm so dang proud of that kid. But another huge thing for us, my oldest, who is not a Mennonite, he's 26 years old. He left a month ago for boot camp to the Coast Guard. And that's a
Wow.
huge. I mean, I can't even tell you how huge that is.
Wow.
I
Well,
mean, I'm thinking I'm living a crazy life. He's living a crazy life too.
yeah. Oh my
And
gosh.
so proud of him. So proud of
Yeah,
him for
that's
doing that.
huge. Well, good. I mean, again, it's based in service.
Yeah.
You instilled a lot of good things, the service part of our life.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. They don't get
Yeah.
into serving others. And I think it's so important. So that
I know.
comes from you a lot too.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I'm proud of both of them. I'm waiting to see
Yeah.
what's going to happen with my youngest just because he's I'm just waiting to see. He's
Yeah.
going to be able to stick it out with the church.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, my friend. Well,
It was
thank
okay.
you.
It's been
Thank you.
amazing. I've
It
loved it.
has been. I appreciate you so much. And I
Same.
miss you a lot.
I
The
miss
the
you too.
weekly interactions and texts and all that. But I'm so grateful that we can stay connected in the outside world, outside of
Yeah.
the grieving seriousness and heaviness of all of that. So again, thank you. I can't wait to share this with everybody. Okay, my friend.
I'm excited.
I will see you
Yeah.
hopefully soon.
Okay. I'd love that.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too, Lynnette.
Bye-bye.
Bye.